Let's go over what we talked in class on Monday, which is today still. But okay, so we're in our class. We went to modules. And okay, so last week we talked about balance, contrast, and repetition. Okay, those are the things we did last week. We had this assignment, this one, and this one. Those were assignments what we did in class. If you're online only, you need to do those at home, okay? Okay, so what we did this week is these last couple. So we're doing space, movement, and rule of thirds. Okay, those are the things we're doing next, and there's an assignment to go with each of them. Okay, and if you're online only, you'll need to do these as well. Okay, let's start with space. Okay, so there are two types of space, positive and negative. And this isn't talking about outer space or airspace. Okay, this is just talking about different areas of your photo. Certain parts of your photo can be defined as positive, and some of them can be defined as negative. It doesn't mean good positive or bad negative. We'll get into it. Okay, positive space is the part of your photos that has the stuff in it. So in this photo, each window counts as part of the positive space. These little like black areas with nothing, those are your negative space in this particular photo. Okay, as this part is saying, negative space is the part of your photo that is sort of like the background or is empty. So positive space has the detail. Negative space is like the empty sort of calm parts. Okay, so in this photo, if we were to try and determine how much of this is positive space and how much is negative space, we would need to look at all of the sunflower seeds and all of the shadows, right? All of those are creating interesting shapes that become part of the main image. So all of this, most of that. Okay, all of that is the positive space. All of this stuff is the positive space. So let's see, I'll put a plus sign for positive. All of this stuff is the negative space, all these empty parts. Okay? So all the seeds and their shadows make the negative space, or the positive space, excuse me. Okay, in this one, every single one of these little dots is the area of interest. It's the detailed part. So each of these dots is a piece of positive space. So in this image, there's pretty much almost zero negative space, right? The negative space is these little gaps between the bumps. So this one is like a 90% of it is in positive space. In the previous photo, I'd say like 60% was positive space, was detailed, was the area of interest. This image, our positive space is mostly this part, but obviously you have a little bit of positive space with these whiskers here and here. So all of this up here is our negative space, and this is our positive space, okay? All right, so that's all positive and negative spaces is just, it's a description word to describe or to talk about the parts of the photo that have the areas of interest, like the details, the subject matter, right? And the negative space is sort of the plain, calm, empty areas. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. Your assignment for space is to go take photos that emphasize negative space. I would like you to try to take at least 10 photos, but you're going to turn in your very best photo, just one, okay? So go ahead and pause and go take your photo. This is your intermission, okay? Intermission. All right, welcome back. Let's go to the next part. The next set of notes is movement or leading lines. So we talked about movement a little bit. Basically in photography, the best way to achieve movement in your artwork is to create what's called leading lines. These can be both literally actually existing in the real world lines, or they can be lines that you imply using images lined up in a particular way. Basically, a leading line draws your eye and makes you look around the entire image and to see all the different parts of it. So in this one, we have this bench where if you line it up just right, it makes it so there's all these different stripes pointing at the main subject. Okay. This one is again another straight line. We've got like the dash marks, but also the road itself creates a leading line. Right, so your eye probably looks down here first, and then it goes up to that sky. Okay, here we have a leading line that follows, it's not straight, this one's curved, it follows the edge of the beach, and then probably your eye kind of comes up and follows the edges of the cliffs afterward, is my suspicion. So that's still a leading line, it's just not a straight line. Okay, here with these shopping carts, we are using repetition to create a line that makes our eyes kind of travel with the shopping carts. Here our eyes generally tend to follow the routes, so depending on which route catches your eye first. Here we have several leading lines here. This one is more of a zigzag. Your eyes might go like whoosh, and then over here, and then whoosh, and then over here, and up again. Okay, so that one's a zigzag leading line. Okay, and then this one, these stairs create lines that the photographer is using to point to the subject. So that helps keep your eye moving. Okay, those are all the examples for leading lines. I recommend that you now take a moment and go do that assignment to accompany it. Same sort of idea. Go try to find something that you can cause to be a leading line to point to a subject in your photo. I recommend you take 10, but you're only turning in 1. Okay? So it is now intermission. Please go and take your photos. Pause the video. All right, welcome back. Next, the last composition rule we're going to go over is rule of thirds. Okay, so rule of thirds is where you try to line up your main subject or the main area or focal point on a third of your photo. So it just means as you're holding your camera or your phone or whatever, you try to line up your subject on either one of the side thirds or a top to bottom third. Okay, so this one is a side third, but it actually has a couple of things going on here. So we have the castle or church on this side third, but if you notice, the skyline is also on a third. Can you guys see that? Like the horizon, like the sky fills up all this space up till right here, and then you can see the land or whatever right there. So, and actually, if you look, this castle is basically on two. Oh. Okay, this is actually on 2/3. It's on a third from side to side, and it happens to be on a third from top to bottom. Okay, now this photo, the subject is right here. But if you look, it's actually, they're not quite on a full third. I would say if I was to try to cut this photo into 3 evenly spaced pieces, the third is actually right here and right here. And then there would be a third right about here and another third this way. So this subject is not quite in the proper third. It's close. It's close enough that I would accept it, but it's not quite where I'd want it to be. Okay, same thing here. It's just not quite on the thirds, right? Like we have 2 different subjects going on, and neither of them are quite on a third. So it'd be nice if they had just shifted just a little bit. Okay, this one is on the thirds. So if you were to chop this into perfect thirds, the top flower piece is on a double cross, like on a cross point. And because of the way the arm is laid out, that creates a leading line that makes us look here at their fingers and the other piece of moss on their hand. Okay, so that's rule of thirds. It's lining up your main focal points on thirds. Okay, so your assignment is to go take 10 photos using rule of thirds and turn in the best one. Turn in your best photo. Okay, we are now on another intermission. Ready? Pause the video. Okay, welcome back. So let's go check out our module one more time. We have just completed space, leading lines, and rule of thirds. That is all we're doing for this week in class. We will start portrait photography next week. You can see there's already a bunch of stuff ready to go, but I'm not going to publish it until next week, okay? So please get this stuff finished if you haven't already. These are our notes and our assignments, okay? All right. If you have questions, please message me. All right, talk to you guys later. See you later. Bye.